So, a couple of days after Christmas, I watched the Wonder Woman 1984. I actually enjoyed it upon my first watch. But due to the massive backlash it received, I decided to watch the movie yet again. This time with a more of a critical eye. Let's talk. So the movie opens on Themyscira with a young Diana competing in the Amazonian Games. The lesson from this scene is that it's wrong to cheat and that you can't win this way. A lot of people felt this scene was way too long. I enjoyed it, but agree with another point that this scene does nothing for the story. Patty Jenkins kept this scene in for people to understand Diana's background and world. In case you forgot. We then cut to present time, 1984. A robbery takes place in a mall and the acting here is terrible. This guy shouting. Wonder Woman appears and in a kind of cheesy way leaps around catching the criminals, even though she only saw like half the crew. From this scene you can definitely see the tone Patty Jenkins is going for. The Richard Donner Superman. This should have been way darker. More of the tone as its predecessor. This movie has a similar plot to the Superman sequel from 1980. Our hero loses their powers to get what they want, love. But have to give up that love in order to save the day. Well, Steve sacrificed himself back in 1918 during the First World War. This impacted Diana's decision to see the good in mankind and stop Ares, becoming the God Killer. 66 years later, Diana can't get over her loss and sees the memory of Steve everywhere. This leads us to the movie's MacGuffin. The Dreamstone / Monkey's Paw. A stone that grants anyone who touches it a wish. Not knowing that the stone actually holds that power, Diana wishes for Steve back. At this point we are also introduced to Barbara Minerva. A clever woman, but she wears glasses, so everybody ignores her. Except for Diana. Well, she tries to, but feels bad for Barbara. They go out for lunch, and on her way home, Barbara is mugged by a creepy guy in a park. But Diana comes to the rescue. This sets up Barbara's wish to be like Diana. Okay, we have one more. Maxwell Lord, a failing oil tycoon, somehow knowing about the stone, pursues it and tracks it to Barbara's and Diana's museum. Oh, and the stone was found during the mall fight in a back room where Mr. Lord ordered it to. A gala takes place where Maxwell hooks up with the now beautiful Barbara. He convinces her to give him, Lent, the stone, and his wish is to become the stone.
I wish to be you, the Dream Stone.
At the same gala, a bunch of random dudes tries to flirt with Diana, until one of them turns out to be Steve Trevor. Though he's in another man's body, to everyone else he looks like this dude, but to us and Diana, it's Steve. People have pointed out that what happened to this man? He shows up in the end clueless to everything that's happened. What about his job, possible girlfriend or family? He just disappeared for a couple of days. Maxwell is the stone now, and he makes people around him wish for things he needs, or they wish for things themselves. And he gets a counter wish in exchange. So we have set up all our characters. But why is this taking place in the 80s? The world or even music never really tried to showcase this. The music is still great. Hans Zimmer returned and made some awesome new scores, as well as reusing some of his old music from Batman vs Superman and Wonder Woman 1. But movies like Guardians of the Galaxy feels more 80s, even though it takes place in 2014 in space. The 80s music from that movie is Peter Quill remembering his childhood through a mixtape made by his dead mother. Back to 84. Maxwell goes to Egypt for reasons? He wants the rest of the oil, I think. His motivations at this point is a bit blurry. So Max gives this pharaoh guy a wish. That being returning his ancestral lands back. In return, Max takes his personal guard, even though at this point there hasn't really been any threat. Steve and Diana learn through Barbara that Maxwell has the stone and that he went to Egypt. So Steve and Diana goes to a museum, meets a Decepticon and gets transported to Egypt. Oh wait, no. They steal an old plane and it freaking works. Diana then makes it invisible cause of radar, even though the only time she's done it was 50 years ago on a coffee cup. Bad plot, so we need it to happen. Even though her, Steve and Maxwell all are back in DC the very next day. Then, on a lonely road in the desert, Steve and Diana accidentally drive right past Maxwell and his new guard army. They fight, and I will admit I liked parts of the fight, but some of it, like Diana running towards the camera, looked off. Diana learned two things. She's becoming mortal and bullets can hurt her. The other, that Maxwell is the stone. Bomb, bomb, bomb. Maxwell escapes, and Steve and Diana calls Barbara, who has new information on the stone from a shaman guy. We then cut to next day, where everyone is home. So the plane had fuel to and from Egypt? Where did they put the plane or found it? It's never explained. Steve, Diana, and Barbara meet up with the shaman and learn crucial information regarding the stone. In order to make everything normal again, they have to give up their respective wish. Max at this point looks more and more sick and wants everyone to somehow give him a wish at the same time. So he gets an audience at the White House with the president. Also, Maxwell has a son. We never see the mom or stepdad. The kid just appears when he's needed to make Max seem bad. He clearly loves him and tells the kid, Alistair, that he's doing everything for him. Barbara, not wanting to give away her wish, disappears from Team Steve Diana. She's been getting stronger as Diana has gotten weaker. The president wished for more nukes against the Russians. Max gets the same authority as the president and learn of some stupid Star Wars satellites that touches people. This way he can make everyone in the world wish. Steve and Diana shows up at the White House and confronts Maxwell. Diana has only been using her lasso through the whole movie. It can catch bullets, swing like Spider-Man, show someone past historic events, and whatever the plot needs it to. Barbara shows up and beats Wonder Woman and eventually leaves with Maxwell to the satellite. Here Barbara asks for a second wish, to become an apex predator.
An apex predator.
Diana has to give up Steve to get her powers back, and they immediately return. We then have this weird flying scene where the music from the movie Sunshine appears. John Murphy, Surface of the Sun. The music has appeared in everything from The Walking Dead to the X-Men Days of Future Past trailer.
Then what? Find me. Convince me of all of this.
But Diana sorts of fly, falling with style. We then have our final battle at the satellite facility, where Wonder Woman appears in her golden armor. But why? She has her powers back. Barbara turned into the villain Cheetah off screen because the audience wouldn't like to see that. They fight, Diana's armor gets wrecked, and through electric wires hitting water she beats Cheetah. Maxwell is broadcasting to the world and global chaos ensue. Diana can't stop him due to some newfound wind power blowing her away. Again, the lasso comes into play. Through that, touching Maxwell's leg, Diana speaks to the world, telling them to give up their wish and for Max to do the same. We then have a flashback of Max being bullied as a kid. This wanting him to be better for his own son. Maxwell gives up his wish in order to find his son in all of the chaos. Maxwell finds him and tells him he never has to wish for his father's love. That's the end for Maxwell's character. No consequences or what? Does the world not remember this incident? But what about Barbara? She never really renounces her wish. So does she keep her power for sequel? Yeah. According to that logic, a lot of people would have kept their wish. But maybe Maxwell made it for her, his counter wish to someone else, which changes the circumstances. Maybe. Jump forward, Christmas time. Diana accidentally meets the Steve original body guy. They have a random exchange. Cut to Diana mastering her flight skills. Something we haven't seen in the future. Then a quick mid-credit scene where Asteria, the original Amazonian to carry the golden armor, appears in our world. Played by Linda Carter, the original Wonder Woman from the old 70s show. What to make of all this? Where the first movie had some already iconic scenes like the No Man's Land scene, this was average action. Some of it looked alright, but other just unfinished. The fight against Cheetah felt like it was only put in there for the lack of fight against Maxwell. In the first movie we had Diana being the fish out of water, discovering the world of mankind. Here it was reused to have Steve experience the 80s. Gal Gadot and Chris Pine has amazing chemistry, and though I liked seeing him back, it felt like the story took a step back. We needed to see Diana come into her own and make new relationships with people, not close herself off from the world until Steve reappeared. In many ways I enjoyed the movie, but for the cheesiness, like the Catwoman movie, or the X-Men Origins Wolverine. This is Wonder Woman, and she deserved better. In Batman vs Superman, she talked about leaving mankind behind 100 years ago.
100 years ago, I walked away from mankind.
This just happened in the 80s, and we have a third one confirmed. But this time, could take place anywhere. Patty Jenkins is returning to end the trilogy, and hopefully she gets some help writing it. Like, what was the point of the golden armor? Have Diana using it as she's powerless to protect herself and show off why she's an Amazonian warrior. As for Barbara, she should have been a tool for Maxwell to protect himself. Not a happy coincidence. Have him turn her into Cheetah, an apex predator. Cut out the Egypt stuff and have Diana go to Maxwell's company using her lasso to get information out of his employees. If you have to include Steve Trevor, just make him Steve Trevor in his own body. With everything else going on, it wouldn't be a far stretch. So to conclude, this is not the worst movie created. It has some good scenes and fun acting. Pedro Pascal really went for it. Gal Gadot and Chris Pine are really likable, and I feel the same with Kristen Wiig. I will definitely watch this movie again, though you could easily cut about 20-30 minutes away. But I will enjoy it for what it is. A real apex predator.